King Shalom, it's your brother Yonathan. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say Shalom to all the brothers, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. Y'all seen, they just had those power outages over there in Spain and Portugal. Now, those power outages, those conditions, all right, where people are going to be put in desperate situations are coming to Babylon the Great, okay? And I'm sure that was a trial run for something bigger. You know, whenever this devil does something, it's usually a false flag. Nothing's happening by coincidence in the grand scheme of things, all right? And even further than him, the Lord has mapped everything out, even going further than Esau, because everything that he's doing was written down for him to do, which gives us, you know, supreme confidence. All right, confidence, fidence, faith, gives us faith because we know that nobody's stepping outside of the jurisdiction of the Most High. Everybody's doing exactly what was written for them to do, okay? Now, I don't know if you guys remember the exercise they ran in 2019 before that pandemic. I believe it was called, let me double check. It was called Crimson Contagion, and it simulated a global influenza pandemic to assess the U.S. government's readiness for such an event. All right, and did that just before, you know, everything got shut down. This devil does that in so many different ways, so many different facets. He prepares the minds of the people for what he's getting ready to do. In Satanism, they believe they have to tell the people what they're going to do, and they fall for it. They free themselves from judgment. All right? So going back to the point of the blackouts and how these conditions are coming to America, these are going to be things that play out in our lifetime. All right, let's go get it in the scriptures. In 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, it states what? The world and the people in it are doomed. The war that will bring their destruction. Now, in the midst of those blackouts happening, what else is brewing? Okay, you got tariff wars, trade wars, cold wars, bigger nations funding these small militia groups to try to destabilize governments, being found out, nations in Africa clicking up against the West. All these things are playing out. All the prophecies are playing out. And now blackouts. All these things are going to be a recipe to create the conditions for Jacob's trouble. All right? This is 2nd Ezra 15 and 14, but we're in the G&T, as you can see. It says the world and the people in it are doomed. The war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. Okay? So people are gearing up, you know, their technology. You know, you got the AI moving forward. But what else have all the nations geared up on? The ICBM missiles. Okay? Which is the fashion in which World War III is going to be fought. Let's back that up. That thermonuclear destruction is how the final war, the war of Armageddon, is going to be fought. This is Job 20 and 22. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits, meaning a position of difficulty. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. All right? He thinks he has everybody in his pocket, but the nations are going to turn on this man. It's not going to go as planned. Verse 23, it says, when he is about to fill his belly, God shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him. He's going to have those missiles shot off and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. When he thinks that he's accomplished his new world order,
when he thinks he's rewritten the prophecy of him going into captivity, the Lord's going to flip the table over. Okay, verse 24. He shall flee from the iron weapon, the missiles. And you got to remember, when the prophets, when our forefathers were being shown these visions back then, they used parables and the themes and the words best accessible to them at the time. You understand? Verse 25, it says, it is drawn and cometh out of the body. Oh, sorry, we skipped 24. It says, he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and cometh out of the body. Yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. All darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. All fires require what? Oxygen to spread. The only fire that spreads of its own accord will be of a bomb, or in this case, the missiles, the ICBM missiles. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. Anybody left in Babylon, the great America, is going to be destroyed, because America is the one section of the earth that's going to be annihilated from coast to coast. The 10th part of the city fell, right? That's spoken of in Revelation. Now, verse 27, it says, the heavens shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. The increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the portion of a wicked man from God. Now, you have a people in the scriptures known as the wicked. All right, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right, the heritage appointed unto him by God. All right, so it was written for him to be destroyed in this fashion. Now, Psalm 7:13 says what? He hath also prepared for him the instruments of death. He ordaineth his arrows against the persecutors, the people that have persecuted the chosen family, the family of the heavens, the Israelites. All right. Also in Zechariah 14:12 gives you the illustration on the effect that this weapon that the Lord has created for this, the climax of the movie, the effect that it will have on the bodies of the people. Check this out. Zechariah 14:12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. And Jerusalem, remember, brothers and sisters, is always a people before it's a place. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. A burning heat that eviscerates someone's flesh while they stand upon their feet. That minute happened in an instant. What weaponry upon the earth can do that? All right? Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. This is clearly talking about the missiles here. Okay? So that's how World War III is going to be fought. So that's playing out. And on top of that, leading up to that climax, there's going to be sedition. Cities are going to be blocked off. There's going to be lawlessness in many places. And people are going to be doing whatever they need to do to survive. The love of many is going to wax cold. This is spoken of in this book that collects dust in everybody's house. All right, one more precept on the missiles is Isaiah 9:5. It says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. Now, every war up until this point has been what? Men on battlefields, swords clanking, guns going off, battle cries, dead bodies on the battlefield. It's been fought in a particular fashion. But in the scriptures, it's differentiating the final war from all the others. It says, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So again, the fashion in which World War III is going to be fought is going to be thought via the missiles. And right after World War III, that's when the kingdom of heaven gets established, which is what we're longing for. So a lot of times people will hear us talk about the, America being burned, the society being cast down. It's because we're trying to get to verse 6 here. Isaiah 9:6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, which is Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. And the government, because the kingdom of heaven is going to be on earth, it's going to be a righteous government upon the earth. And the government shall be upon his shoulder. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. This is what we desire to get to. But first, particular prophecies have to play out. And we're looking at them. Let's go back to 2nd Ezra 15. We'll start once more at verse 14. It says, and this is in the GNT. It says, the world and the people in it are doomed. The war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. You can read about that in Joel, the 3rd chapter as well. Okay, 2nd Ezra 13. It's all throughout. It's throughout the volume of the book. This is spoken of. I'm not going to touch on every single instance in this lesson. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, but it's there. And if you type in GMS World War III, if you're just listening, and these topics are going to be brought up to where over time you're going to get the fullness of what's going down, and you won't be able to be lied to because you'll understand what the scriptures say. Because this is where we find the real news. You can't trust the media. You can't trust Esau Edom. He controls it. Specifically the chief tribe of Amalek, the small hats. Okay, now verse 16, it says, there will be great political turmoil. Now you stop me, cut the video off when one of these things is not happening. Okay, there will be great political turmoil with one group trying to overpower another and gain control. And you go into the left-right paradigm, the plebeians and the patricians. All right, the modern version that you are familiar with would be the Democrats and the Republicans, or the left wing and the right wing, to keep the people in these, chomping a bit at each other, instead of being able to identify the real problem, which is the elites of this world. And the elites of this world are Edomites, the top Edomites, not the everyday Edomites you see at work. Okay, the banking families. All right. So that left-right paradigm, if you're still caught up in that at this point, you really don't know what's going on. You don't know. You might know a little bit of something, but you don't know really the grand scheme of things, why these things are happening, and what's going to be the end of these things. Okay? That is a tactic that's been used to stop the majority, the masses, from, attacking the few. All right, the left-right paradigm. The Greeks did it, the Romans did it, and they're doing it here in Babylon. Okay? Verse 16 again, 2nd Ezra 15 and 16. There will be great political turmoil with one group trying to overpower another and gain control. And because these people believe in the left and the right, they're going to be the ones, duking it out with each other. They fell for the sleight of hand from the wicked, while ignoring the legitimate government. Okay? So people are going to be at each other's faces. One people shall stand and fight against another. It should be Egyptian against Egyptian. We're in spiritual Egypt. Okay? And now I like the way it reads here in the GNT, because even as everything's going to hell, people are still going to be confused about who the real problem is. Even when things go to complete shit. They're not going to point at they don't even know. They don't quite understand who the problem actually is. Right, verse 18. Because the struggle for power will bring their destruction, terror, and total confusion wherever people live. Driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions. God says, I am calling together all the kings of the earth to come forth, to come from the north, south, east, and west, to turn back and restore what they have taken. I will pay them back with the same harsh treatment they have always given to my chosen people. The Lord says, I will use my power, and there will be no mercy for the sinners. I will put to death all who have murdered innocent people. My anger has become so fierce that fire has blazed out to burn up the foundations of the earth. Now, let's go get this in the KJV. All right, so here in verse 16, 2nd Ezra 15, 16, it says, for there should be sedition, all right, disregard of the powers that be. anarchy, lawlessness, turning against the government. For there should be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All right? There's going to be martial law. There's going to be some places you want to go in the city, maybe look for supplies. But it's going to be such a dangerous place to even go to. People aren't even going to be able. Now keep in mind, what might some of the conditions be during that time? You guessed it. Blackouts. People not having, access to the normal amenities that they're used to having. People being thrown back into the Stone Age to survive, which these people in America definitely don't know how to do. I guarantee, I'm guessing right now, but I'm sure over 90% of people don't know how to start a fire without a lighter. You understand? So it's just, it's going to be a very dark time. That's the scriptures are saying. But the wicked, they want a lot of this to play out. There's a term called order ab chaos. Let's ask Esau's angel, the AI, right? What ordo ab chaos is. And it's going to give us a lot of truth in here, as you'll see. It says order ab chaos is a Latin phrase meaning order out of chaos. It's often associated with Freemasonry, where it symbolizes the idea that order can be created from chaos, suggesting a process of transference, transformation or enlightenment. Regarding its use to control the masses, the concept can be interpreted in various ways. Some conspiracy theories, and they have to put that label on the people that are speaking the truth, all right? So that the ordinary person, when the truth is told to them, it has a negative stigma on it, has a stench to it. To the person that's still plugged in, it has a stench to it. All right, it says some conspiracy theories suggest that it's used by secret societies or governments to manipulate public opinion or societal structures by creating chaos and then offering a solution that leads to more control. What happened in 2020? The little pinch of chaos that was going on, that they told you was going on, was used to strip you of your liberties and to take more control over your life. What's going on over there with the blackouts? What was the media saying? Well, anybody could have did this. This could be a cyber attack. People shouldn't be able to go online anonymously. This wouldn't have happened if we could pinpoint where it came from, when people weren't able to go online anonymously. We need a digital ID. All right? And that's going to be a system that's tied in with the mark of the beast. That chip, that you being on a digital grid to where everything that you do, say, think, express is documented, can be pinpointed. That chaos that happened over there in Portugal, and that they're going to trigger in places all over the world, that chaos is going to be used to exert more control over the people. All right, third paragraph here at the bottom, it says, as for its connection, actually, let's read the second paragraph again. Regarding its use to control the masses, the concept can be interpreted in various ways. Some conspiracy theories suggest that it's used by secret societies, governments to manipulate public opinion or societal structures by creating chaos, and then often a solution that leads to more control. However, these are theories without substantial evidence. So you say. All right, third paragraph. It says, as for its connection to false flags, some believe that such events could be orchestrated to create chaos, which then justifies new laws or policies that increase control over the population. Again, this is speculative and not supported by concrete evidence. Right. Okay? Wake up if you're not. Pay attention to what's going on. and prepare yourself. And how do you get prepared? Okay? Seek ye out the book of the Lord and read. Understand the prophecies. And adhere to the conduct that the Lord has given you. Actually walk in love. Love is equivalent to the obedience, to the commands that the Lord has given us, to the conduct he told us to walk by. You do that, he's going to sup with you and increase your faith, increase your spiritual strength so that you can stand up against the evildoer in the time of testing. And we're all about to get tested, all right? So Abba Ratzazah, man, the lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises once more to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rekha HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to all the brothers. Of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth and sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.